Hey guys, Marsing here bringing another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so today we are going to talk about the Universe 6 category. It has been a big sticking point, a big topic of contention when it comes to discussing the new Carnival LR, Super Saiyan 2 Caulifla and Super Saiyan 2 Kale reversible exchange. Like, them releasing with a Universe 6 as their category leader skill, obviously 4 key, 220%. I don't know, like with the introduction of 220 leads for the anniversary for new carnivals, I guess we kind of look at them in their own separate tier, because out of the newest carnival units that we've gotten with the actual 220 leads, I was going to say, like, are these guys, do they have the worst leader skill for the carnival LRs that we've seen so far? I would say probably yes, right? If we include all the previous Carnival LRs, then obviously, you know, they're competing with such wonders as like GT bosses and stuff, right? But in terms of from the anniversary, I mean, I guess Giant 8 Power wasn't really all that, like, on release. Has a few buffs thanks to the anniversary, like with the LR Super Saiyan 4s and Giant 8 Vegeta and stuff like that. But in terms of the new meta Carnival leads, this leader skill is pretty terrible, but it's one of those things where when it was revealed, we saw the details for this unit on Twitter. I know people were instantly disappointed with them having Universe 6 as a leader skill. However, some of us remained cautiously optimistic because if, you know, this is going to be the Part 2 LR and this is going to be their leader skill, you would think that the Universe 6 would then get a ton more buffs to go hand in hand with the release of this unit. Now, one of the things that we've mentioned in previous videos and when we've looked at the timeline, when the Part 2 LR came out for last year's Golden Week, which was, of course, the AGL Ultimate Gohan, on the day he released, there were 5 sub-EZAs that were all Majin Buu Saga characters, and multiple of those characters could be used on his team. Obviously, they were buffs to the team that had already been sort of building up from the beginning of the Golden Week, with the headliners having those Buu Saga leader skills as well. Whereas these guys, Universe 6 obviously includes Hit from Part 1, doesn't include Goku. They are on both the teams of the Part 1 characters, which is good. But in terms of their leader skill, it's been a bit of a disappointing celebration in terms of buffing Universe 6 specifically. Right, we got Hit as the Part 1 Dokkan Fest. His banner unit, the physical Magetta, is pretty terrible. Then in terms of other Universe 6 characters, like, there hasn't been any, right? Like, the Hit and God Goku EZA is pretty good, but because of the way Join Forces characters work, like, they're not on the Universe 6 category. They would have to be the new style of reversible exchange for that to be the case. So all eyes kind of fell towards what we all assumed was going to be like the #1 EZA that would be coming thanks to the banner lineups, which is Tech Kale and Caulifla. Now, I do still very much think that by the end of this celebration, like once all is said and done and we leave Golden Week and move into whatever is the next celebration that should be starting by the end of the month, like, these guys will get their EZA. But the problem is they released the LR and then they didn't drop any EZAs or anything on the same day. So they released a leader for the Universe 6 category without giving any buffs to the Universe 6 team, like, at the same time. Because obviously Carnival LRs or Yellow Coin LRs don't have banner units. So these guys are the only new unit that was released. And I made a video, of course, like the other day, like when these guys came out. And the title of the video pretty much is, well, it is, right? The Universe 6 team is a joke. Because you got these guys who are good. And we've tried them out on a couple of other teams now, and they are a very solid unit. We've got the Hit from Part 1, who is very, very good. Last time when I did my last TUR, like, top tier list, he was at #1. He's very, very good, for sure. Of course, if you didn't pull him, that's a massive blow to the build of the Universe 6 team, because he's probably the best unit on the team. I haven't really fully decided, but I do think he probably is better than Kale and Caulifla overall. They do different things, right? Like, if you get Kale out, she's an invincible slot 1 tank, which Hit obviously isn't. But yeah, they're both very, very good units. Magetta's not very good, but, like, what else are you running? So you kind of have to throw him on the team. I just really don't like the way that he works, because I actually hadn't realised, it was only when we talked about it on the podcast the last episode, but, like, he actually doesn't give support to allies. He's a Universe 6, all allies defense 20%. Universe 6 allies attack 20%, but he only gives that support when he's attacking. So if he's in slot 3, that support is completely pointless because everybody else in the turn has already attacked. And then if he gets super attacked, he gets stunned for 3 turns. His super attack raises allies' attack and defense by 30% for 2 turns. So at least if you're running him as a floating support, he's giving the next rotation support. But that's basically all he does. Like, he's not good, right? Neither of the banner units are particularly good. So far we've got 3 units on the team, and this guy's not even that great. Tech Caulifla, against certain events, obviously she has a 100% chance to dodge. If you're building the team in the right way, where like every single character on the team except for one is one of the Universe 6 Peppy Gals characters, then she has over 100% chance to dodge, so it doesn't actually matter which type of enemy that you're fighting. And then obviously if you are fighting a Pure Saiyan or Universe Survival Saga character, you don't need to worry about the rest of the team build. She probably is just an auto-include as long as the event doesn't disable dodge, because then obviously at that point she's able to take no damage. She doesn't do a huge amount of damage, but I guess that's not really important if she's not taking any damage. But she's still questionable, like I say, if the event disables dodge, and of course it does restrict your team building a little bit so that you can give her the full dodge chance. And then realistically, those are kind of like, I mean, really it's like this unit, and this unit are like the go-to. I don't like this unit as it is anyway. And then Kefla with her EZA, she can build up to doing some decent attack stats, but she is dodge or die against like the difficult bosses, which it's not really a great start if we're only like, you know, 4 units, now 5 into our team build, and we've got a character that is going to die in a bunch of different situations, right? And then realistically after that, it's just a toss-up between who else do you want to throw on the team and hope that they don't get you killed. A big one that like we've tried using is Kale. Certain situations like post super, she can tank normals but is not in a good position when it comes to super attacks. So just overall the team is really not looking great. So obviously the title of the video, can Universe 6 be saved? What do we actually need to see before the end of the celebration? We already touched on Tech, Kale and Caulifla. These guys absolutely need to get their EZA as part of this celebration. They've got a fairly bare bones like kit when it comes to their pre-EZA, so there's plenty of room to give them some interesting stuff. And then from turn 6 they can fuse into Kefla. Kefla herself is not the craziest of units either. Like, this unit's fairly old, right? So the pre-EZA version of the character isn't like super crazy busted or anything. But Super Saiyan 2 Kefla, she recovers HP when you fuse, which is always helpful. Additional attack, I mean, obviously buff this up. Medium chance is not good. High chance to dodge. Extra stats when attacking, and then extra attack with more key spheres. Easily this can be made significantly better. Give her some sort of orb changing in both forms. That helps out the LR as well. So yeah, these guys, like I say, I would be shocked if we get to the end of the celebration and these guys don't EZA. But that in and of itself is not enough, right? So what else are we looking at? So we've got Int Kaba, who was the banner unit for Tech, Kale and Caulifla. This is something that they have done in the past, and then they've not done it sometimes, then they've done it again randomly. A lot of the time they just seem to forget that sub EZAs even exist in the first place. But it's very possible that if they EZA Tech, Kale and Caulifla, this guy could just EZA at the same time, and then they could do the same thing they did with the Super Kaioken and STR Pycon EZAs, where by doing Tech, Kale and Caulifla's EZA event, you beat missions that then just give you the medals to EZA this guy straight away, so you can just get them both fully EZA'd straight away. This guy is a Universe Survival Saga ally support unit, so obviously works well on that Universe 6 team. Technically won't be supporting Int Hit because they don't count as Universe Survival Saga for the 6 vs 7 tournament. But he obviously gets a little bit of an extra buff per ally on the team, and then when an ally whose name includes Vegeta is in the same turn, he gets an attack buff. So obviously for a Universe 6 setup that's going to be irrelevant, but him just getting a bit of extra attack isn't really like a make or break for him, because he's kind of just going to be on the team to be a support unit. I think the main thing they need to do is make it so that his unit super is not the only one, because his unit super raises attack and defense, his normal super only raises attack, and they're both infinite stacks. But make his normal super raise defense as well, right? Because then on a Universe 6 team where we don't have a Vegeta ally, he is still at least raising defense on his super. And then you could make the unit super greatly raise or something if you want, right? But make sure we add the defense stacking into his normal super attack is the way to go. And then, yeah, just buff up his stats per Universe Survival Saga ally. Make it Universe Survival Saga or Universe 6. Because even though I know this unit kind of has that theme around, like, this is the Kaba that, like, you know, the title of the card is literally a promise to master, right? He has the unit super with Vegeta. We don't want to take away, like, we wouldn't change Universe Survival Saga to Universe 6 because that wouldn't make sense. But adding in, like, so per Universe Survival Saga or Universe 6 ally would make it significantly better, raise that buff a little bit, and then as we're going to use him as a floating support unit, maybe throw in like some built-in dodge, maybe you can, like, if there's a certain number of Universe Survival Saga characters on the team, he gets guard or something like that. Anything to make him into that better sort of role where he can be a floating support unit on the team, buffing everybody else, and we're not overly worried every turn that he's going to get you killed, right? But him easy-Aing at the same time as Tech Kale and Caulifla would be a massive buff. We mentioned AGL Kale. A lot of people say, like, you know, it's too early for her to get an easy A. I know she's only, what, 2 years old at this point? But realistically, unless they're waiting for then another Kale or Caulifla or Kefla related celebration, like, why not just easy A her now? It would be such a massive buff for the Universe 6 team. Like, this would be a really good, like, I would say a pleasant surprise. I don't think it would necessarily save the whole celebration, but to kind of upturn the mood for, like, the end of Golden Week. If we got the Tech Caulifla and Kale, and then, like, in Kaba EZA, and then even maybe if it was, like, a week later for the end of the celebration or something, this unit got an EZA, like, as a surprise, and was actually really good, like, you know, potentially best EZA TUR kind of thing. That would be such a massive help for the Universe 6 team. They've shown that they will EZA characters early, like out of schedule, if it fits the theme of the celebration. So I just think it makes so much more sense to EZA her now rather than wait like a year from now when a bunch of these Universe 6 characters that we've now just gotten for Golden Week here in 2025 are then potentially going to have aged out, and then she's just going to suffer the same fate that she did on her original release, where she's going to get her EZA but then she's got no real like good team to be run around her. So I think her getting an EZA would be massive. Obviously her banner unit was the Tech Frost. It's funny actually when you look at him and Kaba, what is the deal with them giving Universe 6 banner units, but then they give them like extra buffs if they're run with a character who isn't a Universe 6 character? Because this guy buffs transformation boost allies, which means he did buff Kale when she came out, and obviously gives an extra buff to Universe Survival Saga, so still buffs Kale, but then he has a unit super with Frieza. Fortunately, I mean, it does actually, I was going to say, his normal super does give him defense. The unit super is greatly raised attack and defense. So again, he's like much better, but you have to run him with a non-Universe 6 character. So in terms of him buffing this like full Universe 6 team build that we're going for, that doesn't really work all that well. So he could quite easily get a decent EZA, make his unit super, like make his normal super greatly raised attack and defense as well. The unit super basically seals and has a high chance to stun, which isn't really that important. Maybe make the unit super like greatly raised for 3 turns, which is then significantly better, but at least he still has the greatly raised for 1 turn for the Universe 6 team. But yeah, I only just really thought about that now, looking at this guy and Kaba. Both of these guys banner units for a Universe 6 Dokkan Fest, where they have a unit super with a non-Universe 6 character, making them slightly more awkward to run on a full Universe 6 team, which is weird. I don't know why they do that. And then lastly, we do have a bunch of free-to-play units that could also EZA. This physical hit is still really quite good with his dodge counter. He's the only character outside of the Dokkan Fest LR Tech UI Goku that has the mechanic where when he dodges an attack, he does a counter attack. And he can be quite good. Like, he's a free-to-play character, so obviously he's not going to be surviving super attacks from big bosses or anything like that, but he is a very solid unit. Him getting an EZA, I think, would be very, very good for this team. because obviously the int hit, as we already said, isn't a Universe Survival Saga character. But if you're running a Universe 6 team, you can still run them together, and once the int hit, like, I say transforms, but, you know, does the stance change, like, then they can actually link as well. So this guy can just be like a useful floating unit that can do some dodging and countering, has orb changing, which is quite helpful as well, so that could be very good. He's part of like a set of 4, I think, free-to-play units that all sort of awakened around the same time. We've got the STR Champa, who is a very weird unit. He has multiple RNG chances of getting a huge attack boost, and then he gets defense per key sphere obtained, and then attack and defense 200% if he gets 3 orbs. So, like, he can be okay. He's a very weird EZA for sure, right, with the RNG reliant for his attacks, but he greatly raises attack on super. He should greatly raise attack and defense, realistically. And then, I don't know, maybe change like some of these buffs, maybe extra defense per orb, maybe even orb changing. And then he could actually be pretty good, because he's still a free-to-play unit. He has free-to-play stats. So even with this like nuking style defense passive, if he was orb changing, that doesn't suddenly make him like, you know, this busted best free-to-play unit in the game. But some good touches for him for an EZA would be quite nice. Maybe support as well, because otherwise he probably gets beaten out to the team by some of the better summonable units. But in terms of support, well, there is also the AGL Vados. She has a 50% chance to dodge, and she gives Universe 6 allies 2 key and attack and defense 30%. So I mean, that could easily be 3 key 40%. She lowers attack on super, which can still be kind of useful. Just make her dodge like 70%, give her obviously more actual start of turn stats, and then she could be a decent choice for a free-to-play like floating support. What would be really good for her, give her the increased dodge chance, and then give her that passive mechanic where every time she dodges it increases her dodge chance, and then she wouldn't be as, like, she wouldn't feel as much of a risk to run, and could be a decent little floating support unit for the team. And then lastly, there's the Universe 6 Namekians, Sayanel and Purina. These guys can be run on a Universe 6 or Namekians team because they're based around the allies that they have. When there's another Universe 6 ally, they have an additional that has a great chance to become a super. And then they have guard as long as all the allies in the turn are Universe 6. So they have a pretty decent like blueprint for a solid EZA. They just need some slightly higher stats. Maybe if they've got the Universe 6 ally, just give them a guaranteed additional super. And then their super attack is raise attack and defense for 1 turn, supreme damage and raise allies attack by 30% for 1 turn, which is a bit awkward because they're not really a unit designed to go in slot 1. So if this was something like greatly raise attack and defense for 1 turn, supreme damage, and then raise allies attack and defense by 30% for 2 turns, then it means they're buffing the units on the next rotation, and then they could actually be quite useful for the Universe 6 team for a floating support. So that's the only options really. Outside of a new unit, those are the only options we have. Like the EZAs that we've talked about here now, so like these 4 free-to-play units, and then Frost, Kale, Kaba and Tech Kale and Caulifla, they're the only Universe 6 characters that don't have EZAs. So since we're not likely to be seeing any new units between now and the end of the celebration, those are really the only hopes for the Universe 6 team to be saved. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Which of those possibilities, out of all the things we talked about, what do you guys think we will see? As I say, I think Tech Kale and Caulifla is a shoe-in, but will we get the Int Kaba sub EZA? Will any of the free-to-play characters EZA? I think if we literally just get Tech Kale and Caulifla's EZA and that's it, that's going to be a huge disappointment because the Universe 6 team is still going to be very risky to run because you're going to have to be bringing at least 1 or 2 characters who are just going to be a huge liability in the most difficult content, which I think is really disappointing for a Carnival unit to release with a leader skill where that team like can't even make a runnable team against the end game content. That's pretty disappointing. So let me know what you guys think down below. Can Universe 6 be saved? How would you do it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Master Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.